All right, so we are starting a new topic, multiplying and dividing monomials. Monomials are terms such as 4x squared, or say we've got x, y, z squared, something like that. So there are a bunch of variables and numbers put together that are multiplied together. Okay, so there's no adding, no subtracting. There's some rules that you guys need to know. So the first set of rules that we're going to talk about are the product of powers, which just means that if we are taking two numbers that have common bases, so let's say we had 4 squared and 4 to the 6th power. If we are multiplying these two, the bases, which are the 4's, in each of our parts needs to be the same. We then take their exponents, so the 2 and the 4, and add them together. So this reduces down to 4 to the 8th power. Okay? So when we're multiplying any type of variable or number that it has a common base that's raised to a power, we can add the powers together, because this is the 2 and the 6 are powers, to simplify it to being 4 to the 8th power. Okay. Next thing, if we are dividing like bases, so I'm just going to use the same example. So I've got 4 squared and 4 to the 6th. You take the exponents and you subtract them. So you go 2 minus 4, so you get 4 to the negative 4 power. Okay. The next thing is, if you have a fraction, so if you're in a, let's say you have 2/3, okay, and you're raising that to a power, you're going to take each part and raise it to that particular exponent. So you're going to go 2 to the 4th power, 3 to the 4th power. All right, so let's look at some examples together. First one is going to be just two things that we're multiplying together. Okay, so in this particular problem, what I would do first is I would rearrange this, because when we have multiplication, we can arrange the different parts in any order that we want. So I took the two numbers, put them together. I've got 3 times 6, which is 18. Then you're going to take your x's and say, well, I have multiplying two terms that have the same base, so that means I'm going to take the exponents and add it. So I'm going to have 6 plus 2, 8. Now I'm simplified. I'm done. Right. Same concept in example number 2. So you're going to have negative 5 times 2. Again, just reorganizing. So regrouping everything, and that's supposed to be an x. So now I've got negative 10. I add up the number of x's. X to the no power is just to the 1 power. So I have 1 plus 3, which is 4. And I have my y's. 2 plus 6 is 8. Okay, that's my simplified answer. All right, now we're going to move on to a couple more examples. So here we've got a few that are dividing. Okay, so do you guys remember what the rule is with dividing that we just talked about? Okay. If you said we're going to take the exponents and subtract them, you're absolutely right. So I'm going to take my x to the 4th and I'm going to subtract 1 from it, because x to the no power is just to the 1st power. Then you're going to take your y's, you're going to go 5 minus 4. Now nothing is left underneath because I'm subtracting those coefficients with the top numbers. So I'm just going to put a 1 in its place value. You're going to have x to the 3rd power, y to the 1st power, all over 1. And then just going to write it x to the 3rd power times y. I don't need to write that 1 there because I know there's only 1. All right, here's your next example. So I'm combining a few things together. If I'm raising a power to a power, right, we have to kind of distribute that power. This is 1 times 2, z to the 3rd power times 2. So you see, this is just 1, this is 4 to the first power, so it's going to be 1 times 2, which is 2. Then I've got x to the first power, so I wanted to show you guys I'm multiplying the 1 and the 2. Then you multiply the 3 and the 2. So I'm going to simplify that top part while I'm here. Okay. Then I look at the base, so I'm going to go 3 squared x to the 4th times 2, z to the 7th times 2. Okay, so now I'm going to have 9 x to the 8th, z to the 14th. Okay. From here, we can keep simplifying. All right, we have x's on the top and the bottom. What we need to do is make sure that our exponents are positive, and we're going to go through that a little bit more. But because there's more x's on the bottom, when I subtract, I'm going to keep the x's in the denominator. So I'm going to have 16z to the 6th all over 9x to the 6th, because I want 8 minus 2, and then on the z to the 14th is staying there. Okay. I should have also subtracted the z's. 16 is going to be the only term that's on top. And we have 9 times x to the 6th power. Z's, when I subtract, I get z to the 8th. Right? This concludes your first part of multiplying and dividing monomials.